Most people believe that walking is the safest, simplest, and most effective exercise you can do after 50. And they're right, but only partially. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. The way most people are walking after 50 is quietly working against their metabolism, their joints, and even their long-term brain health. My name is Dr. Zeno Phantom, and I've been practicing medicine for over 15 years. A few months ago, I worked with a 62-year-old patient, Ahmed, a retired accountant. He walked every single day, 45 minutes, without fail. Yet he was gaining weight. His fasting blood sugar had climbed to 118 milligrams DL, and his energy was crashing by midday. He told me, "Doctor, I'm doing everything right." But he wasn't. After making just a few strategic changes to how he walked, not more, just smarter, within 8 weeks his fasting glucose dropped to 95 milligrams DL. He lost 6.5 kg, and his energy stabilized throughout the day. Same walking, different physiology. Today, I'm going to show you exactly 7 walking mistakes that are silently damaging your health after 50, and what to do instead. Because according to the World Health Organization, over 150 million adults globally are at risk of metabolic disorders due to insufficient or ineffective physical activity. And many of them believe they're doing enough. Most people miss this because they focus on movement, but ignore metabolism. Here's what's really going on inside your body. After 50, your insulin sensitivity decreases, cortisol patterns shift, and muscle mass naturally declines. That means the same walking routine you did at 35 can now lead to fat storage instead of fat burning if done incorrectly. This isn't about walking more. It's about walking in a way that supports your hormones, your liver, and your cellular energy systems. And if you get this right, you don't just lose weight. You improve brain clarity, reduce inflammation, stabilize blood sugar, and slow down biological aging. In the next few minutes, I'll break down the exact mistakes and, more importantly, the simple, science-backed adjustments you can start today. Because small changes here create massive results over time. Here are the 7 critical mistakes we're going to break down. Walking at the wrong time of day. Walking too slowly to trigger metabolic change. Walking in a constantly fed state, ignoring posture and joint mechanics. Overdoing long, stressful walks that elevate cortisol. Not combining walking with muscle activation. Walking without recovery or electrolyte support. Each of these may seem small, but together, they determine whether your walk becomes a fat-burning, energy-producing tool or a slow drain on your system. If you're ready, I'll move to section 3, mistake number 1, next. Mistake 1, walking at the wrong time of day. And this one surprises my patients the most. Most of my patients tell me, "Doctor, as long as I walk, the timing doesn't really matter." They believe a walk is a walk, morning, afternoon, or late at night. It's all the same. But here's what's actually happening inside your body. After 50, your body becomes much more sensitive to when you move, not just how much you move. Your hormones follow a circadian rhythm. Cortisol is naturally higher in the morning, insulin sensitivity is better earlier in the day, and your body is more efficient at burning fat in a slightly fasted state. But if you're walking late in the evening, especially after meals, your body is more likely to store energy instead of using it. Even worse, late-night walking can disrupt melatonin production, which affects sleep, and poor sleep directly raises insulin resistance. So now, your healthy habit is quietly feeding the exact problem you're trying to solve. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your metabolism like a factory that runs on a schedule. In the morning, all machines are fully powered, ready to burn fuel efficiently. By late evening, the factory is shutting down, lights dim, machines slow, and storage systems take over. If you deliver fuel or activity at the wrong time, it gets stored, not used. Research published in the journal Diabetologia found that people who exercised in the morning had significantly better improvements in insulin sensitivity compared to those exercising later in the day. And according to the American Diabetes Association, impaired timing of physical activity can worsen blood glucose control. especially in adults over 50. My recommendation for every patient over 50. Walk within 30-60 minutes after waking, ideally before breakfast or after a light protein-based meal. Even 20-30 minutes at this time can dramatically improve fat oxidation and stabilize blood sugar for the rest of the day. If mornings aren't possible, your second best option is a short walk right after meals, especially after dinner, but keep it light and brief. And if this is helpful so far, consider subscribing. I post content like this every day to help you take control of your health naturally. Your timing matters more than you think. Not next week. Tomorrow. Mistake. 2. Walking too slowly to trigger metabolic change. And almost nobody talks about this one. Almost every patient I've seen with this says, "Doctor, I take it easy on my walks. Slow and comfortable is best at my age." They believe that gentle, slow walking is enough to improve metabolism, burn fat, and maintain health. But here's what's actually happening inside your body. After 50, your muscle mass naturally declines, a process known as sarcopenia. And with less muscle, your body becomes less efficient at using glucose and burning fat. If your walking pace is too slow, you're not activating enough muscle fibers to create a meaningful metabolic response. Your heart rate stays too low, your mitochondria aren't challenged, and your insulin sensitivity barely improves. In simple terms, your body doesn't get the signal to adapt. To trigger fat burning and improve metabolic health, you need to reach what we call Zone 2 intensity, where your breathing is slightly elevated, but you can still hold a conversation. This is where your body starts using fat as a primary fuel source and improves mitochondrial function, which is critical for energy and longevity. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine your metabolism is like a dimmer switch, not an on-off button. Slow walking keeps the light barely glowing, but when you increase your pace slightly, you turn the dial up, activating more systems, more energy production, more fat burning. Without that turning up, nothing changes. Research published in the Journal of Applied Physiology shows that moderate intensity exercise significantly improves mitochondrial density and insulin sensitivity compared to low-intensity activity. And according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, adults need at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity activity per week to see meaningful metabolic benefits. My recommendation for every patient over 50. During your walk, aim for a pace where your breathing is deeper. You feel slightly warm. You can talk, but not sing. A simple method. Walk normally for 2 minutes, then increase your pace for 3 minutes. Repeat this cycle for 20 to 30 minutes. This small adjustment can completely change how your body responds. If your walk feels too easy, it's not helping you. Start adjusting your pace today. Mistake. 3. Walking in a constantly fed state. And this one is silently blocking fat loss. Most of my patients tell me, "Doctor, I eat something before my walk so I have energy, maybe some toast, fruit, or a snack." They believe they need fuel before every walk, otherwise they'll feel weak or burn muscle. But here's what's actually happening inside your body. Every time you eat, especially carbohydrates, your insulin levels rise. And insulin is not just a blood sugar hormone, it's a storage hormone. When insulin is elevated, your body is essentially locked into storing mode. Fat burning is suppressed, and your body prioritizes using glucose instead. So if you're walking right after eating, particularly high-carb foods, you are not tapping into fat stores, even if you're walking for 30 or 40 minutes. After 50, when insulin sensitivity is already reduced, this effect becomes even stronger. This is why many people walk daily, but still struggle with stubborn belly fat and rising blood sugar. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your body like a hybrid car that can run on 2 fuels, sugar or fat. When insulin is high, it's like the car is locked into sugar mode. The fat tank is full, but completely inaccessible. Only when insulin drops does your body switch over and start using stored fat. Research published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism found that fasted exercise increases fat oxidation significantly compared to fed-state exercise. And studies show that even a small carbohydrate snack before activity can reduce fat burning by up to 35–50% during exercise. My recommendation for every patient over 50: at least 3 to 4 times per week, do your walk in a lightly fasted state, meaning walk before breakfast, or wait at least 2 to 3 hours after eating. If you feel you need support, you can have black coffee, green tea, water with a pinch of sea salt. And if you're concerned about muscle loss, prioritize protein intake later in the day, not right before your walk. If this is helping you see walking in a completely new way, consider subscribing. I break down these hidden metabolic patterns every day. If insulin stays high, fat burning stays off. Change this, starting tomorrow morning. Mistake. 4. Ignoring posture and joint mechanics. And this one quietly damages your body over time. Almost every patient I've seen with this says, "Doctor, walking is natural. I don't need to think about how I walk." They assume posture doesn't matter, that the body will just figure it out. But here's what's actually happening inside your body. After 50, muscle imbalances become more pronounced. The glutes weaken, the core disengages, and the hips tighten. At the same time, many people develop a forward head posture and rounded shoulders. So when you walk with poor alignment, you're not distributing force correctly. Instead of activating large, metabolically powerful muscles like the glutes and hamstrings, you overload smaller joints, knees, ankles, and lower back. This not only reduces calorie burn and metabolic benefit, it also increases inflammation and joint wear over time. And here's the deeper issue. When large muscles aren't engaged properly, your body loses one of its biggest tools for glucose disposal, meaning blood sugar control worsens. So now posture is not just a structural issue, it becomes a metabolic problem. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your body like a car with misaligned wheels. You can keep driving it every day, but the tires wear out unevenly, fuel efficiency drops, and eventually something breaks down. Walking with poor posture is exactly the same. Silent damage, accumulating step by step. Research published in the Journal of Gait and Posture found that poor walking mechanics significantly increase joint loading and reduce muscular efficiency, especially in older adults. And according to the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons, improper gait patterns are a leading contributor to knee and hip degeneration after 50. My recommendation for every patient over 50: use this simple posture checklist during your walk. Keep your head stacked over your shoulders, not leaning forward. Relax your shoulders, don't hunch. Engage your core slightly, like bracing gently. Take slightly shorter, controlled steps. Push off the ground using your glutes, not just your knees. Start with just 5 minutes of perfect posture walking per session, then gradually extend it. This small shift can dramatically improve both joint health and metabolic output. Every step you take is either healing your body or wearing it down. Fix your posture today. Mistake. 5. Overdoing long, stressful walks that elevate cortisol. And this one backfires badly. Most of my patients tell me, "Doctor, the longer I walk, the better it is. More time means more fat loss." They believe that pushing for 60, 90, even 120 minutes every day will accelerate results. But here's what's actually happening inside your body. After 50, your stress response becomes more sensitive. When you walk for too long, especially without proper fueling or recovery, your body begins to interpret this as a stressor. This triggers the release of cortisol. Now, cortisol in small amounts is helpful, but chronically elevated cortisol does the opposite of what you want. It increases blood sugar, promotes fat storage, especially around the abdomen, breaks down muscle tissue, disrupts sleep. So instead of improving your metabolism, excessive walking can actually slow it down. This is why some people walk for hours and still struggle with stubborn belly fat and fatigue. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your body like a bank account. Short, strategic walks are like steady deposits, building health over time. but long, stressful walks without recovery are like withdrawals. If you keep withdrawing more than you deposit, eventually you go into deficit. That deficit shows up as fatigue, weight gain, and hormonal imbalance. Research published in the Journal of Endocrinology shows that prolonged endurance activity without adequate recovery can significantly elevate cortisol levels, especially in older adults. And studies have linked chronically elevated cortisol to increased visceral fat and insulin resistance. My recommendation for every patient over 50: keep most of your walks in the 20 to 40-minute range. If you enjoy longer walks, limit them to 2 to 3 times per week and balance them with proper hydration electrolytes, especially sodium, potassium, magnesium, adequate protein intake after. Also, pay attention to your body. If you feel drained instead of energized after a walk, that's a red flag. And if this is helping you rethink your routine, consider subscribing. I share simple, science-backed strategies like this every day. More is not better. Better is better. Adjust your duration, starting today. Mistake 6. Not combining walking with muscle activation. And this one accelerates aging faster than you think. Almost every patient I've seen with this says, "Doctor, walking is enough. I don't need strength training at my age." They believe walking alone will maintain muscle, metabolism, and overall strength. But here's what's actually happening inside your body. After 50, you naturally lose 1 to 2% of muscle mass per year if you're not actively stimulating it. And walking, especially steady-paced walking, is not enough to preserve or build muscle. Without muscle, your body becomes less responsive to insulin, your resting metabolism drops, and your ability to burn fat declines. Even more important, muscle is your body's largest glucose sink. It pulls sugar out of the bloodstream and stores it safely. So when muscle declines, blood sugar rises. That's why many people who only walk start seeing increases in HbA1c, fatigue, and weight gain over time. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of muscle like a sponge. A big, strong sponge can absorb a lot of water, just like healthy muscle absorbs glucose. But as the sponge shrinks, it holds less and less. Now that excess water, or glucose, stays in the bloodstream, causing damage. According to the American College of Sports Medicine, adults who do not engage in resistance training can lose up to 30% of their muscle mass by age 70. And research in diabetes care shows that increasing muscle mass significantly improves insulin sensitivity and glucose control. My recommendation for every patient over 50: pair your walking with simple muscle activation. No gym required. After your walk, do just 5 to 10 minutes of bodyweight squats, 10 to 15 reps, wall push-ups, 10 to 15 reps, step-ups or lunges as tolerated. Or even better, add short bursts during your walk. Every 5 minutes, stop and do 10 squats. This sends a powerful signal to your body to preserve muscle and improve metabolic health. If you don't use your muscle, you lose it. Start activating it today. Mistake 7. Walking without recovery or electrolyte support. And this one is often completely overlooked. Most of my patients tell me, "Doctor, walking isn't intense. I don't need to think about hydration or recovery." They assume electrolytes are only for athletes, not for simple daily walks. But here's what's actually happening inside your body. Even mild activity like walking increases fluid loss through breathing and sweat, especially if you're walking regularly in warm environments or in a fasted state. After 50, your body's ability to regulate fluids and maintain electrolyte balance declines. Levels of sodium, potassium, and magnesium become easier to deplete. And when electrolytes drop, several things happen. Muscle function becomes less efficient. Fatigue increases, heart rhythm can become irregular. Cortisol can rise as a stress response. Cravings, especially for sugar, increase. So now your simple walking routine is quietly pushing your body into a low-grade stress state, which blocks recovery and slows metabolic progress. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your body like an electrical system. Electrolytes are the wiring that allows signals to flow. Muscle contractions, nerve impulses, even heartbeats. If the wiring is weak or unstable, the entire system flickers. Walking without proper hydration is like running electricity through faulty wires, inefficient and eventually damaging. According to the National Institutes of Health, even mild dehydration, as little as 1–2% fluid loss, can significantly impair physical performance and cognitive function. And studies show that electrolyte imbalances become more common with age, increasing the risk of fatigue and metabolic dysfunction. My recommendation for every patient over 50. Before your walk, drink 1 to 2 glasses of water. Add a pinch of natural sea salt or a squeeze of lemon. After longer or faster walks, consider adding magnesium-rich foods like leafy greens, potassium sources like avocado. This simple habit can dramatically improve energy, endurance, and recovery. Hydration isn't optional, it's foundational. Start supporting your body today. Let's bring this together clearly. Walking is one of the most powerful tools you have after 50, but only if you align it with your biology. Because now you understand. It's not just about movement, it's about metabolism. When you walk at the right time, you improve insulin sensitivity. When you walk at the right intensity, you activate fat burning. When you manage insulin, posture, stress, muscle, and hydration, your body begins to respond the way it was designed to. Energy improves, blood sugar stabilizes, fat loss becomes easier, and most importantly, you slow down the aging process at a cellular level. Here's what's really going on inside your body. You're either sending signals of adaptation and strength, or signals of stress and decline. And the difference comes down to small daily decisions. So here's your challenge. Don't try to fix everything at once. Pick just one mistake from this video and correct it starting today. Maybe it's your timing. Maybe it's your pace. Maybe it's simply adding 5 minutes of muscle activation. Track how your body responds over the next 7 days. Because when you listen to your body and work with it, the results come faster than you expect. And if this added value to your life, like the video and subscribe to join others who are optimizing their health naturally, one simple habit at a time.